We recently worked with a hosting company that believed it was fully compliant. They were reporting and paying every month. They weren't hiding anything, but they were underreporting 60% of what they owed. I'm Paul Lindberg, president of Altaris Cloud. 17 years in Microsoft licensing and compliance, more than 600 audits personally. This is part of a six-part series on licensing risk in mergers and acquisitions. If your deal involves a hosting company, a managed service provider, or anyone delivering software as a service to third parties, this is the video to pay attention to. The service provider license agreement works completely differently from a standard volume agreement, and that difference is where the exposure lives. Under a normal agreement, a company buys licenses up front. There is a purchase order, there is a quantity, there is a paper trail you can audit against. Others have their software metered. They pay for what they actually use. Under SPLA, however, there is no purchase. The service provider self-reports usage every single month and pays only for what they report on a subscription basis. The entire model runs on the accuracy of a monthly report that nobody independently verifies until an inspection happens. Let me say that again because it's the whole point. The financial accuracy of a SPLA hoster rests on a number they calculate themselves every month with no external check. Now, counting licenses across shared infrastructure is genuinely hard. I want to be fair about that. When you have multiple customers on shared hosts, virtual machines moving between clusters, and users connecting from anywhere, arriving at an accurate count takes real discipline, real tooling, and deep licensing knowledge. Most don't have all three. Here's what it looks like in practice. We ran a compliance inspection on a hosting provider. During the inspection period, they had reported and paid roughly $1.3 million in license fees over the period in scope. Their actual net underreporting was just over $2.1 million, 60% of their total obligation unreported. The underreporting penalty and additional costs added another $600,000. Total findings and costs was approaching $3 million. That's a company that considered itself current and compliant. They were simply counting wrong. Now imagine that company is your client's acquisition target, and that number lands 90 days after close. Let me tell you the single most common root cause, because it explains a large share of what we find. Windows Server must be licensed through SPLA unless the physical host hardware is fully dedicated to a single client, and the client brings their own licenses. In any shared scenario, the service provider has to report that Windows Server consumption monthly. There is a widespread belief that license mobility through software assurance solves this. It does not. License mobility does not apply to Windows Server. So a hoster builds a shared cluster, believes their customers' existing licenses cover it, and underreports Windows Server for years without ever knowing they had an obligation. That single misunderstanding on its own produces some of the largest findings we see. There is a second implication that matters even more to a buyer, and it has nothing to do with penalties. If a hosting company has been underreporting for years, then the margin on their financial statements is not real. The cost of goods sold is understated. Bring that reporting current, and the true cost of serving those customers goes up permanently. That does not just create a one-time liability. It changes the economics of the business your client is buying. You're not just buying a compliance problem. You may be buying a business whose entire margin profile is different from what the model shows. In the next video, I break down the 5 specific places licensing exposure hides and the one category where we oftentimes actually find money instead of risk. If there's Microsoft licensing anywhere in your deal, reach out before you close. Altaris Cloud, find us at altariscloud.com.